Okay, 3 words to describe Tabor: ocean, global, and open. We're right on the ocean. That's easy, but I think one of the qualities of education is to connect with your environment. So the presence of the ocean, which is physically present, but also in our curriculum and in our worldview and our hopes for our students, really influences what we teach and how we teach it. And it certainly moves into the area of experiential education as a quality that Tabor values. Our first international students came from 2 countries, Japan and Russia, 134 years ago, 1890. And the global part of Tabor, it's in 134 years, we've changed, the world has changed, and our school's culture and character have changed. But that global piece has always been present. And it's the part of Tabor that most interests and fascinates me. And for me, it's a privilege to be part of the school lives of the students and the parents and the alumni who come here. This summer, we did Tabor summer dinners in 6 countries in Asia. And the alumni at dinner after dinner, at meeting after meeting, talked about their kids and their hopes that their kids would be able to connect, perhaps come to Tabor as students, come to our summer camp, that they saw what Tabor had. They felt years later, decades later, they were still a part of Tabor and Tabor was still a part of them. So that global piece to Tabor is both personal for the international kids we've had, but it's also school-wide. If you ask a Tabor American or domestic graduate, do you remember international kids in their class? It's very likely that they will say, yes, even if there were 30 or 40 years ago only 3 or 4 or 5 international kids, they will say, yes, I remember so-and-so. He played on my team, or she was in the performance that we did. We had a boy, a 9th grade student, who went to a summer program at University of Pennsylvania this summer, and he's really interested in physics. And we have a number of Tabor graduates who go to UPenn. Well, he met that graduate and had lunch with him and talked about how he might develop his interest in physics further. Certainly, academics is at the center of the Tabor experience. As I see our academic program, there is a mixture of traditional learning and traditional curriculum with an openness and a receptivity to independent work, to collaborative work, and to taking the foundation of classwork and pursuing an area of personal interest.
At Tabor, the cornerstone of everything we do is experiential learning, whether that's in the sciences or learning more broadly. And we're really fortunate that we have the Mann Center, which is the Marine and Nautical Science Center, which is located really actually on Sippecan Harbour. So we're really fortunate. We have an 88-acre campus right next to Harbour, a beautiful bay just south of Cape Cod. And we really encourage our students to be stewards of the environment. But in terms of what that looks like in day-to-day learning across all of the science subjects, whether that's introductory biology in the 9th grade, through to chemistry classes and through the sort of more regular track, or whether it's through elective courses, we really do try to make sure that students get exposure to the fantastic resources and facilities that we have here. Specifically, that's things such as in the Mann Center, we have a couple of wet tanks so that we can actually take different creatures and flora and fauna out of our surroundings and take a look at them. That might be looking at intertidal zone type of things. We can actually go out onto the harbour. We're fortunate to have a few different vessels that can take students around the harbour and actually get out onto the water and looking at things that way. I would also say that unlike maybe some other schools, we have a really wide range of offerings in the marine and nautical science areas. So that could be from pretty cool and interesting things such as celestial navigation, so learning to navigate by the stars, through to aquaculture or hydroponics, and really looking at sustainability through all of these different elective courses. Starting in grade 9, students have the option to really follow what they're interested in, but through a fairly set curriculum. So all students, international or otherwise, have a fairly standardized experience in grade 9. That's in science and all across grade 9, to make sure that we're really getting those research skills, writing ability, critical thinking. And then as students progress through their Tabor career, there really are options to select and to navigate navigate through the STEM subjects and through other parts of the academic program as they wish. So we are really proud of our programming here and the facilities that we have. I feel very fortunate actually as a chemistry and biology teacher that we can always just go down to the waterfront and really get dirty, as it were. I might also mention that we have something called the BRUV program. That's BRUV, which stands for Baited Remote Underwater Video Program. And we actually do that looking at what species we have here in Sippecan Harbour. And we're working on a collaboration actually with a school in Japan. We're just getting that set up at the moment to compare the data that we have here on the east coast of the US with what they're seeing in a place called Zushi, which is about an hour southwest of Tokyo. So that's just one example of how we're really trying to combine global programming and connecting our international community with the work that we're doing in sciences, especially the marine sciences.
From my perspective, our top priority is to figure out who you might become in 3 years from now or 4 years from now. That's about growth, potential. It's about your willingness to make friends. I observe this year after year, that if in the 9th grade, if you want academic success all along your 4 years, make friends, try new things, pick up a new sport. There are several sports at Tabor where no one has much background. Rowing, squash. So it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or an intermediate or advanced. Try out for the musical if you like to sing. And don't worry, sit down with a new group at lunch and try to push. It's natural to be shy or to be hesitant and maybe a little bit nervous in a situation like that, but to try and go ahead and push through it. So those are the qualities that the admission officer tries to figure out in your interview. So who's a good fit for Tabor? We are hoping to enroll students who give evidence of a strong capacity for growth, centering but not limited to academics. And when we ask a graduate, what was this experience all about? What was the best thing that happened to you at Tabor? It's pretty reliable that they will say these two things. One is the friends I made. I made friends I'll keep all my life. And the other is I learned to be independent, not distant from my parents. In some ways, kids will say I actually got closer to my parents. I realized what they were sacrificing to send me away from home. But I learned to be self-sufficient. I had help when I needed it, but I also, by the time I'm a senior, I learned that a lot of these things I needed to either know when to ask for help or to do them on my own.